Well, good evening, everyone. Once again, we are the Violet Flame Triad of the Molecular Order, gathered here this Thursday evening to explore some of the mysteries of the universe as revealed through our Tibetan master, Djwhal Khul, as he uh, transferred information to Alice A. Bailey. It is September 18th, 2025, and we have a new member or a guest with us this evening. His name is Eddie from Kenya, and he's studied with the 12s group with Stephen, and has also studied some Alice Bailey. So he should fit right in and understand exactly what we'll be discussing this evening. Of course, we also have our illustrious Cindy, Ken, and Ed, and myself. So we have five of us, and then we have your wife is here with us too, Ken.
Yeah, she's here.
Okay. All right. And we are studying the externalization of the hierarchy, section 4, stages of the externalization. Last week we discussed how the challenge of the hierarchy is how to reveal new information, revelations, new ideas, knowledge, doctrines, how whatever you want to call it, to the masses. And of course, to as a tool to implement the introduction of higher truths, we have the new group of world servers and other groups functioning under the auspices of that group. And their uh, their goal or their function is that it says here, it is easier to swing the masses into step and give them a newer light of truth if that light is poured onto familiar ground. All must be given the chance to see, to hear, and be offered the opportunity to weigh and judge the significance of reality. The truth must be stepped down and adapted in such a way that the advanced minds, the inquiring minds, and the reactionary masses may have opportunity proffered them to their measure of their receptivity. So everyone has an opportunity to learn and to elevate his or her consciousness. So great truths have to be stepped down so that the masses can understand them and accept them and apply them in daily living. Um, and we're finding that's the challenge for each of us as we journey through life and we meet new people and we want to introduce them to the truths that we have discovered along the way. And sometimes it's like feeding a baby food. You have to just give them little bitty bites at a time and gently, carefully move them along the path until they can be weaned from the breast and drawn from the milk and handle a denser portion, handle some meat. Okay, so also last week we discussed the different masters and the work that they are engaged in. The Master Hilarion, Master Moria, K.H., Kuthumi, Djwhal Khul, and oh, a whole bunch of masters out there. Master Jesus, Master Hilarion. And then we moved on to page 507, where it says one of the English masters has in hand the definite guidance of the Anglo-Saxon peoples towards a joint destiny. The future for the Anglo-Saxon is great, and not yet has the highest flow of the tide of its civilization been reached. History holds much glory for England and America when they work together for world good, not supplanting each other or interfering with each other's empire, but working in the fullest unison for the preservation of the peace of the world and the right handling of world problems in the field of economics and of education. Well, most of us came from England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales. I know I have ancestry in those from those places. Don't you, Ed?
Well, I'm Scotch, Irish, Dutch, and German.
There you have it. So, we're all from European descent or English descent or Great Britain. So it only makes sense that even though we declared our independence from Great Britain, that we still hold on to our roots. Okay. Well, I guess Eddie is going to leave us. And thank you for hanging out with us, Eddie, there for as long as you were able, and visit us anytime. All right. Let's see. Let's all take turns here since I've read the most of it. Ken, why don't you read on and see what else we've got to learn here?
We're just sorry at the seventh ray. Is that
Yep.
where we're at?
Yep.
As the
What pa-
seventh,
what page is that?
507 on the seventh ray on
Okay.
507.
as the seventh ray of organization and of ceremonial work is now coming into prominence and manifestation, the work of the master on that ray is that of synthesizing on the physical plane all parts of the plan. The master Rakoczy takes of the general plan as it is outlined in the inner council chamber and approximates it to the possible. He might be regarded as acting as the general manager for the carrying out of the plans of the executive council of the Christ. It might be of interest here to point out that when he comes, whom angels and men await, and whose work it is to inaugurate the new age and so complete the work he began in Palestine 2,000 years ago, he will bring with him some of the great angels as well as certain of the masters. The angels have ever been active in biblical history and will again enter into the lives of human beings with more power than has lately been the case. The call has gone out for them again to approach humanity and with their heightened vibration and superior knowledge unite their forces with those of Christ and his disciples for the helping of the race. They have, for instance, much to communicate anent color and sound and the effect of these two forces on the etheric bodies of men and animals and flowers. When what they have to impart is apprehended by the race, physical ills and sickness will be offset. The group of violet angels or devas who work on the four etheric levels will be especially active and they will work in the four main groups of men who are in incarnation at any given time. Four rays dominate at any period, with one of the four more potent than the other three. You have this idea symbolized in the four castes in India, and you will find also that these four castes are found universally throughout the planet.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Color and sound, because that's what we're made of, color and sound. Seven colors, seven rays, seven notes, um, seven spirits before the throne, seven chakras, lots of septinates there.
And when we look into the Osna Center, we see the colors at a time. So I see a lot of violet and blue and some green.
I see all those colors when I'm looking at my computer screen.
Well, you get out a box of crayons too.
I always wanted one of those great big boxes of crayons when I was a kid, but we always only got the ones that had 12 crayons in them. I guess that was enough. We could still see the colors of the spectrum. Yeah, well, so when you look up and inward, Ed, is that when you see different colors?
Right.
How about you, Cindy? Do you see different colors when you close your eyes and look within?
Oh, sometimes, yes, yeah. And and also when I'm looking out at certain things, usually living things like uh, people, sometimes I can see colors around people, not all the time.
Like their
Yeah,
aura.
I can see
Probably.
the I can see we can see the colors in meditation, and I can see the aura around people, but I can't see any colors outside of that. The light colored aura that hovers around the body about 6 or 8 inches or something. I can see that, but that's all I can see.
You can see the etheric body, that's out about an inch.
Well, I don't think the etheric extends that far. Um, do
I,
you know, Sid?
It
in some of the pictures that Leadbeater draws in some of his books, he shows it an ovoid shaped aura that's quite large.
Yeah,
No, what I see is uniform around their whole body, and it's kind of fluid like. It's not precise, and if they're walking, it kind of dances around in like kind of like water flowing. It's not completely even as it hovers going around them.
I've heard it referred to as the auric egg. So you're kind of walking in an eggshell. I see colors every time I bang my head. I can see colors. Close my
Yeah, it
eyes.
feels so good when you stop.
Uh, how about dreaming? Do you guys dream in color?
Occasionally,
Yeah, I dream in color. I started off when I was a kid in black and white. And then when TV went to color, my dreams started going into color.
a few months ago, I had a beautiful dream coming across this bridge and I saw this lake. It's kind of an azure blue.
I like azure blue. Well, color and sound. Okay, so the Christ is going to bring his great angels, some of the masters, and some of the divas.
And they're already here, actually.
Well, they would be since this is written 100 years ago. Okay, well, pay attention. They're probably here with us. We're feeling their presence from time to
When
time.
I have a hard time in the middle of the night going back to sleep, I thank them for the dreams and the sleep they give me, and I go to sleep.
That's a good key, Ed. Be thankful for, be receptive for these other entities that are here to help and serve us, and be aware and be thankful, accept them and welcome them. Create a space for them. When I was in California, I always had my seat in my truck emptied so that if one of the masters wanted to come and sit down, there was a space for them. I don't know. They might have come, but I just didn't see them. But
Well, they don't need a seat.
I was always ready for them. Okay, well, Cindy, tell us about these four groups of angels.
These four groups of angels are a band of servers pledged to the service of the Christ, and their work is to contact men and to teach them along certain lines. A, they will teach humanity to see etherically, and this they will do by heightening human vibration by interaction with their own.
Well, that's
B, yeah, that's interesting, isn't
yeah.
it? B, they will give instruction in the effect of color in the healing of disease, and particularly the efficiency of violet light in lessening human ills and in curing those physical plane sicknesses which originate in the etheric body. That'll be wonderful too.
Yeah.
C, they will also demonstrate to the materialistic thinkers of the world the fact that the superconscious world exists and that angels and men who are out of incarnation and possess no physical bodies can be contacted and known.
Well, that means I can hang out with my dad.
Yeah, I believe that's actually happening.
Well, yes, and I've got a lot of it. Like I said, I've got a lot of experience with people coming from the other side talking to our group in California.
Yes, very, very interesting. D, they will train human beings in the knowledge of superhuman physics so that weight shall be for them transmuted. Motion will become more rapid. Speed will be accompanied by noiselessness and smoothness, and hence fatigue will be eliminated. In the human control of etheric levels lies the overcoming of fatigue and the power to transcend time. Until this prophecy is a fact and recognized as such, the meaning of the above words will remain obscure. E. They will teach humanity how rightly to nourish the body and to draw from the surrounding ethers the requisite food. Man will concentrate his attention upon the etheric body, and the work and health of the physical body will become increasingly automatic. These are great prophecies, boy. Wow.
Oh, you're no kidding.
F, they will also teach human beings as individuals and as a race to expand their consciousness to include the superphysical. In the accomplishment of this, the separating web, the veil of the temple, which divides the physical plane from the unseen world, will be recognized as a fact in nature by the scientists. Its purpose will be acknowledged. Eventually, it will be destroyed by man discovering how to penetrate it. The date is imminent.
Whoa. Okay. So
Wowie, wowie.
Well, maybe we slept through it.
That is quite something. And that was written in
1919,
1990. Yeah,
over a
over.
hundred years ago.
Yeah.
But he has knowledge, being a master, he has knowledge of all these things. And here we are, three-quarters through the book, and we're finally getting into some depth uh, of metaphysical depth.
Wow.
Well, when I was a teenager, I was reading the books of the I Am group, and it was written in stories, but they're very, very interesting stories. They told how they met the masters and they could precipitate a banquet table full of very delicious food right out of the ether. And that's what they're sort of referring to here.
Yeah, they will train human beings in the knowledge of superhuman physics. Well, the molecular concept falls in that category of superhuman physics, so that weight shall be for them transmuted or transcended. Motion will become more rapid, speed will be accompanied by noiselessness and smoothness. In other words, we'll move like ghosts.
Mm.
And
Some of my best friends are ghosts.
yeah, I've got a good friend named Cass.
So many people who have had encounters with, shall we say, UFOs, very oftentimes, many of them, I would say probably the majority of them, say that they move very quietly and without great big, machine things, move with in total silence, with no noise whatsoever.
They kind of glide.
And
They,
yeah, yeah. So they've kind of got this motion
it's, you know what
thing.
that's called? It's called the cosmic glide.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I, you know, it'd be wonderful when we're capable of doing that.
Well, you're
So
not far from it, Cindy.
Well,
well, it's
Not
they told
eminent.
us, yeah, they told us 100 years ago that it's imminent. So let's look all around us and see. It's probably here already.
Yeah.
I might mention some of this in my presentation that I didn't know about till just now. These F groups, six groups, um, or what the angels are going to precipitate.
And this other one where we'll uh, using the violet light somehow we will be able to lessen human illness and um, physical plane sicknesses. That would be
Yeah.
fabulous.
And
Originate.
how do you think I got to be the 2,000-year-old man?
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome, really amazing.
Well, since you got the floor there, 2,000-year-old man, why don't you read on? Thank you, Cindy. That was very enlightening.
But anyway, through the I am teachings when I was younger, I used the violet flame quite often.
How did you use it?
I would invoke it to bring it forth. I was working as a dishwasher in a restaurant, Capistrano Beach, right on the ocean front there, and there was a big restaurant. Saturday night, there'd be a couple hundred people in there, and I'm washing dishes, and the cooks and waiters were all from the Philippines, and they'd be yelling back and forth in Tagalog or whatever language they had, and it got kind of hectic in there. So I began to invoke the violet flame, and in a few minutes it got just very still and quiet in there.
Are you holding your phone, Ed?
Holding my thumb?
Are you holding your phone?
No, I'm not holding my phone. I'm looking at my laptop computer.
Oh, okay, because there's sounds like there's some background noise there.
So I got a fan running.
No, more like I don't hear any noise now. You're not speaking.
Well, that's my voice you hear.
Maybe that's what it is. All right, well, read on, Brother Ed. Invoke that violet flame.
Through the increasing sensitivity of men and through the steady thinning of the separating veil, more and more during the coming years will the telepathic faculties of men and their power to respond to inner inspiration be developed and demonstrated. By the growth of intuitional telepathy and the increasing comprehension of the power of color and sound will the work of the Christ and of the great ones be contacted and understood. And the peoples released from the thraldom of the past and enabled to enter into the liberty of the kingdom of God. Let us now return to our consideration of the spread of the dependent religious ideas and the growth of the new religious organizations in the process of transmuting the old form and so releasing the imprisoned life. There are two things which are steadily held in view by the guides of our evolution.
I can't understand you there, Ed. There's some noise going through your computer. Maybe
Well, I don't know what to tell you about it other than
I don't either.
well,
This is
carry on.
okay. Well, carry on. Okay, so these are the religious organizations in the New Age. First, that the general public serves or is dominated by the concrete mind and is unable to grasp abstractions. It is the form which matters to them the most, for they are conservative and cling to the familiar. The church is intended to serve the masses and is not intended to be of use, except as a field of service, to the esotericists of the world, for they heed not the form to the same extent, having contacted somewhat the inner compelling life. Secondly, the church movement, like all else, is but a temporary expedient and serves but as a transient resting place for the evolving life, kind of like your body. Eventually, there will appear the church universal, and its definite outlines will appear towards the close of this century. In this connection, forget not the wise prophecy of H.P.B. Helena Petrovna Blavatsky as touching events at the close of this century. This church will be nurtured into activity by the Christ and his disciples when the outpouring of the Christ principle, the true second coming, has been accomplished. No date for the advent do I set, but the time will not be long. So the second coming, well, what's the first coming? Maybe it's when he shows up in the flesh, physically, uh, and his disciples when the outpouring of the Christ principle, which is the principle of love, is the true second coming when people awaken to the inner Christ and it becomes a reality to them. And then you really understand the principle of love. It's not some romantic display. It's a true outpouring of more like a sublime universal oneness, connectedness, where you're in a position to offer your time, talents, resources without attachment or emotion. I had that happen twice today. I stopped by to see some customers of mine and ended up spending a half hour with each of them. And I'm thinking, this is time I could be out doing this, that, and the other thing. And then I thought, no, this is where I need to be. These people are getting a real boost from my interacting with them, and I just have to be here with them. So I surrendered to it, and we had I had quite a moving experience with two, three, four, five people today, just because I let go of wanting anything, no attachment to, well, I should be making money. Well, you have money, you don't need to go make more money. It's good if you do, but that's not the primary driving force. The primary force is to connect the Christ within you to the Christ within them without them even knowing what you're doing. But it's happening, and consequently they're feeling a bond with you. And so I can go back to these people anytime uh and another guy came. So there was a sixth person. I called him up and said, "Hey, I'm going to be in the area. Well, please come on over. I got some stuff for you." So I go over there. He's got all these gifts. He has a really a $1,500 table. He's moving up to northern Washington. He says, you can have it for $300. It's got 8 chairs. It's oak. It's beautiful, and it was. But I have no use for it. But I told him I'd help people. I'll tell people about it. But, he said, and he paid me the highest compliment. He says, of all the people in this town, you're the only person, he says, that I've really made a strong connection with. And that was kind of nice to hear him say that. So there were three men that I had that strong interactive connection with. And it was, a real blessing. I think that's the universality of the Christ consciousness as we apply it, um, just by connecting from a high level. Anyway, that was for me today. It should have had to been there. Okay, where did we get to? The Christian church in its many branches can serve as a Saint John the Baptist, as a voice crying in the wilderness, and as a nucleus through which world illumination may be accomplished. I indicate the hope, I do not assert the fact. Its work is intended to be the holding of a broad platform. The church must show a wide tolerance and teach no revolutionary doctrines or cling to any reactionary ideas. The church as a teaching factor should take the great basic doctrines and, shattering the old forms in which they are expressed and held, show their true and inner spiritual significance. The prime work of the church is to teach, and teach ceaselessly, preserving the outer appearance in order to reach the many who are accustomed to church usages. Teachers must be trained. Bible knowledge must be spread. The sacraments must be mystically interpreted. And the power of the church to heal must be demonstrated. Okay, well, it would be nice if all the organized religions of the world could be steeped up and their inner sanctuaries strengthened, and people could gain new knowledge and new light and new truths without the clergy being attached to the old form. I don't know that that's necessarily happening. Maybe it is on a small scale.
Well, there are some churches that are different than the ones that you're familiar with, like the Church of Religious Science. It's based on principles and understanding the meaning of the mysteries.
Yeah, well, that's true. But I'm talking about like your old Baptists, Lutherans, your old school Catholic or Catholic Catholicism, your old school Christian religions,
Yeah.
because there are some churches being built here in New Plymouth that are just huge, and our town is only 1,400 people. And what the Baptist church burned down five or 6 years ago, and now they've rebuilt, and it's twice the size, and it's on the main highway. And I'll tell you what, it is a huge um, facility.
Well, they have about 14 churches or what?
They have 14 churches and a little over 1,400 people. So, church only gets 100 people apiece. How's that going to work out, Ken? They'll have to draw lots when new people come into town, I guess, move in.
When I went to the Church of Religious Science in Huntington Beach, they had 3 services on Sunday, totaling about 900 people.
Yeah, what was that black guy's name that was the teacher? Michael. Did you ever listen to Michael, Reverend Michael?
I don't know.
He was a black guy. He was really,
Well, there was a Reverend Ike. He was a
uh,
black guy.
this is Reverend Michael. He was a New Age evangelist, had a great following. He was quite a guy. He had his finger on the spiritual pulse, let me tell you. People came from miles around to listen to him speak. Probably similar to the one you listened to.
Well, when I was 10 years old, I listened to Ernest Holmes, who wrote the book called The Science of Mind. And he would come on the radio and he'd say, "There is a power in the universe and you can use it."
Yeah, that's a good opening line. And Mary Baker Eddy, what church did she start?
Church of Christian Science.
Christian Science, right? So these were kind of New Age philosophers. Okay, well, let's see. Cindy, read on. That's See what else we got to learn here.
So where are we at? The three main channels that
Yeah,
right there?
yeah.
Okay, the three main channels through which the preparation for the new age is going on might be regarded as the church, the Masonic fraternity, and the educational field. All of them are as yet in relatively static condition, and all are as yet failing to meet the need and to respond to the inner pressure. But in all of these three movements, disciples of the great ones are to be found, and they are steadily gathering momentum and will, before long, enter upon their designated task. The Masonic movement, when it can be divorced from politics and social ends, and from its present paralyzing condition of inertia, will meet the need of those who can and should wield power. It is the custodian of the law. It is the home of the mysteries and the seat of initiation. It holds a symbolism. It holds its symbolism, the ritual of deity, and the way of salvation is pictorially preserved in its work. The methods of deity are demonstrated in its temples, and under the all-seeing eye, the work can go forward. It is a far more occult organization than can be realized, and is intended to be the training school for the coming advanced occultists. In its ceremonials lies hid the wielding of the forces connected with the growth and life of the kingdoms of nature and the unfoldment of the divine aspects in man. In the comprehension of the symbolism will come the power to cooperate with the divine plan. It meets the need of those who work on the first ray of will or power. That's interesting because I grew up in a Masonic family. All the men on both sides of my family, all of them were Masons. And the women were all in the Eastern Star, the Order of the Eastern Star, which was the Masonic organization for women. And me and all of my sisters were forced, we didn't have a choice in it, to be members of the Order of the Rainbow, which was for the young girls from about 12 to 18. So as soon as we all turned 12, we had to go into the rainbow.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And it was, there was a lot of, charitable community work kind of stuff going on, but also there was a lot of secret ritualistic stuff, which at the time I didn't really understand. I just understood a little the superficial aspects of it. But yeah, we were all heavily into the Messiah
So you
side.
exited the rainbow group and went under the cloud of knowable things, the rain cloud of knowable,
Must have.
from the rainbow to the cloud, to
Yeah,
the precipitation of light and truth.
yeah.
Well, I've met many members of the Masonic order, and I haven't found very many that were what I would call open to new truth or any advanced enlightenment. They were kind of stuck in, I think, the glamour of their group, more than what the group stood for. And I met a guy once when I was traveling in the air, and we struck up a conversation that had some potential depth, and I got his name and number. And of course, I've always been one to proselyte and share ideas and truths and the stuff that we're engaged in learning now. And so I emailed him a few things, And the response I got was basically, I got my own thing going, and I'm pretty happy where I'm at. Uh, Not really interested in looking outside. And I thought, well, yeah, but that's the Masonic order. You're a Mason. You're supposed to be the torch, hold the torch of light and opening your ajna center and your third eye and your beam of light and all that. And I could not evoke any kind of interest in deeper philosophy at all from this guy. And then I knew another guy who lived here and not too far from me, and he was a real master he was an artist, a craftsman. He built these, in the circus or the carnivals, they have these horses that go around and around in a carousel. Well, created some of these horses, and they were just masterpieces. And he really did understand the nature and the depth of the Masonic order, and we had many in-depth conversations. So I guess it just depends on who you connected with.
Mm.
Uh, I don't I don't um, I don't find that many people around this area that are from the Masonic order. Do you, Ed?
I haven't run into anybody in the land of dirt and farmers.
They do have a chapter in Ontario, Oregon, but I haven't encountered anyone from it or knocked on their door. I might just do that.
Well, in California, with the Arcana workshops, we held our monthly community meditation meetings in Masonic Hall in West Los Angeles, and you could just feel the ceremonial magic in that place. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just the walls were radiating it.
Yeah, it does have a lot of ceremonial, seventh ray ceremonial magic um, in
There's
their different ceremonies.
there's a lot of even in the rainbow, and probably the DMLA, which is the organization for young boys. There was a lot of ritualistic ceremony. We had to memorize certain things and do certain movements and all. You're sworn to secrecy, so
Right.
heaven forbid if I say too much, I'll be struck down by lightning.
Well, a lot of the founding fathers were Masons.
Yeah.
Washington, Jefferson, what's his name? Benjamin Franklin. There were a lot of Masons back then. The Mormon Church adapted a lot of its ceremony from uh, copied it from the Masonic Lodge. And, in their in their garments they have the square, which is Masonic. You raise your right arm to the square, and in building or the Masonic order is being true, like true north is being true on a compass, and the square is very precise, and it's ordered and it's angled just so, and you can't live your life out of square. You have to live your life in square. So the Mormon Church copied that, and a few other of their ceremonial uh, activities. You can
Well,
see,
does that have anything to do with the church four square I've heard of?
Well, the Four Square Church was founded by Amy Semple McPherson in Los Angeles,
yeah,
and
that's different.
I've heard of that term though. It is sort of more of a generic term, the church
Well, the
four
city that
square.
lieth four square, that had to do with in the book of Revelation,
Mm.
the city that came down out of heaven. It had the four corners and there were three gates in each side of the city that lieth four square.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking.
that's a whole other thing. And then some of the other symbolism was kneeling, bending of the knee. Every knee shall bow, and confess that Jesus is the Christ. So, and then on the ring they have the all-seeing eye of God and the G in the middle of the ring, which stands for God. But they're very humble in that they acknowledge and worship higher power or God. So, they're it's easy for them to bend their knee and get on their knees and be humble, and every knee shall bend. And they have other symbolism that you can study as well. Um, Opening your eyes to God, basically. A lot of their symbolism is on the dollar bill if you want to study it. But that's for another time. But you can see the all-seeing eye of God in the pyramid. And the number 13 is found over and over repeatedly all through the dollar bill. 13 arrows, 13 steps in the pyramid, um, all kinds of 13s are in there.
A lot of occult symbolism on the dollar bill.
Yeah, more than I forgot most of it, but it comes back if you pull out a dollar bill, if I just had more of them. Okay, let's see. We'll read on, Ken, and see what else we've got here in the next few minutes.
The church finds its mission in helping of the devotee, in aiding the great public, which is innately religious and of goodwill. It hides in its heart those who vibrate to the great love ray, the second ray of love wisdom. Christ himself works through it and by its means seeks to contact the vast Christian public. It is the leaving in his hands to live in the whole law, and being in a form comprehended by the people, it can touch the great masses of seeking souls. By means of the educational work of the world, the great Lord seeks to reach those of the intelligent public who cannot be reached by means of ceremonial and symbolism, as in masonry, or by religious means and ritual, as in the church. It touches the masses and those in whom the intelligence aspect predominates to the lessening of the other two aspects. It aids those men who are predominantly on the third rate of intelligent activity.
Well, those guys need all the help they can get because they're on the third ray. They get help from the second ray.
Well, we each have the different rays in our makeup. You have like a third ray mind, a second ray soul, things like that.
Yeah, yeah. Or first ray soul, or first ray personality, or whatever. Okay, we'll read one more paragraph there, Ken.
In all these bodies, there are to be found four esoteric groups who are the custodians of the inner teaching and whose uniformity in aspiration and in technique is one. These inner groups consist of occult students and of those who are in direct or occasional touch with the masters, and of those whose souls are in sufficient control so the will of the hierarchy may be communicated and gradually filtered down to the council, or to the channel, to the channel of the physical brain. These groups, which constitute the true inner esoteric group, are many, but their membership is yet small. For the fact that a student may belong to any of the outer esoteric groups, so called, is in no indication of his true esoteric students. When the few who are the true esoteric students of the world know the difference between etheric and astral forms, That's what we were talking about earlier. Between mental clairaudience and clairvoyance and their astral counterparts, between the elementals of thought and the elementals of nature, then will the Christ and his church have a real esoteric group on the physical plane, and the outer organizations receive the needed stimulation. That is why it is necessary to work with the students at this time and train them in the nature of true occultism. When we understand better the significance of time in prevision and of force and movement, and when we comprehend more fully the laws that control the subtler bodies, and through them, therefore, the laws that function on the planes wherein those bodies express themselves, then will here be more intelligent and more useful work offered in the cooperation with the occult hierarchy.
Very well said. And that's a good place to end. So he's basically divided the work into three groups: the Masonic order, the different religions, and educational work. Oh, hey, ring ding a ling.
I thought that was interesting right there where that Ken was reading about the few who are true esoteric students when they know the differences between the etheric and astral forms, clairaudience and mental clairaudience, and clairvoyance, and their astral counterpart, and so forth and so on. That's kind of like saying when humanity, when we become more mentally more mental than astral, isn't it?
Yeah,
That
Right.
go from etheric to astral to lower mental to higher mental to intuitional and on up in the spiritual realm.
he's making a distinguishment between uh, people who are just kind of normal humanity and true esoteric students.
Yeah, you can only see from the top down. If you're higher, you can see below, but you can't see out.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, he's
This
always
is
delineate
very
the objective and the subjective and the deeper esoteric root meanings of the cause of what makes things happen. He's talking here about time and space and these six different aspects that'll be renegotiated as we move along from the A to F series, and
he's
our understanding of color and sound and light and movement and all kinds of transformational forces.
Well, you know, I tell people quite often that there is magic in the world, and I try to tell them the magic of your word and the things that you say.
Well, that's what thought forms are made of.
Right.
The things you
And, you know,
think and
the
say, and
connection between matter and mind.
mind over matter.
Well, in Latin, mater is mother, but matter, mother, mind are all in the same stream of consciousness.
Well, as long as you're conscious, that's the main thing. Conscious of your mother and your matter and the sun that's the creation between the two.
The beginning is the word.
Well, that's what consciousness happens when spirit moves into matter.
You know, I tell people that your body is made of intelligent substance. These elemental lives, they follow your word, what you say about yourself, and they can't take a joke.
Yeah. So don't use bad language thinking you're going to be funny with these elementals and divas. I don't know. Maybe they're funny.
I
Okay.
feel like I learned very early, as even as a kid, that magic was real. I always believed in magic, and I had, various experiences that let me know it was real.
Oh yeah, name one. Share the experience you had.
Well, I went to, I was very sickly kid, and I was always being hauled off to the doctor for something. And one morning I woke up and I knew that I was 6 years old. I just started school, and I had a very bad um, sore throat. I mean, it was just, I could barely swallow. I was just full of fever. And I knew, oh boy, she's going to keep me home from school today, and I won't get to go to school. And I loved going to school.
Really?
So, yeah, oh, I did. Loved it.
Boy.
Uh, so I went to the bathroom. That was my place where I could be by myself. And I got down on my knees and prayed it to God. And it's like I had absolutely no idea in my head that he wouldn't, something wouldn't happen. What I was praying for wouldn't happen. And I prayed and prayed that I be allowed to go to school, and that this illness leave me. And I did that for about 5 minutes, and then I got up and walked out into the hall. And as soon as I walked into the hall, it was just instantly gone. Instantly. Everything.
Huh.
Instantly. And I went to school and was normal, and it didn't come back. So that was just like one little thing.
You've been guided your whole life.
Well, there's the magic of knowing it is so. You know,
That's it. That's it. And what we think of as magic on a higher turn is really very natural. There's nothing
All
super.
of all of the miracles that Jesus performed could be scientifically explained on a higher level, but
I had when I was 12 years old. I felt like I was coming down with the flu, and I felt very kind of feverish, and my cousins were coming out from the east, and we were living in California, and I went to looked at myself in the mirror, and I said, I'm not going to have this flu, and I was very determined, and it went away.
It's magic, you know. As
well,
far as I,
you said earlier that all masters and high initiates have the gift of healing. They're all healers, so physicians heal yourselves.
Well, we're all healers. All we need to do is recognize it.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's certain things to apply. Don't get sick in the first place. Huh, Ken?
That was the when I first started reading the Bible. What prompted me to do that, just because I wanted to be a healer. I had a friend that had bone cancer, and he was dying, and he didn't live very much longer after that. But yeah, that's what I wanted to be, a healer.
Isn't there a Tibetan book on healing? Esoteric healing?
Yeah, yeah, I haven't read all of it. I read part of it. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, Actually, Ruth read it here a few years back, and she was sending me highlights of things as she went through it. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to discuss it as we go along. Meanwhile, thank you guys. It's been an interesting class. I'm going to go through and reread this whole segment that we've just read because I always get deeper understanding when I do and mark it up even more. Okay, well, Ed, why don't you close this meeting since you didn't get to read as much.
Well, the meeting shall be closed.
Amen, brother. Amen. Hallelujah.
I'm going to say the great invocation.
Okay.
From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth.
I mean, we do our
Oh,
part. Om. Oh, go ahead, Ed. Give us an om. Om. Thank you, Ed. You said that prayer with great power.
that's what moves mountains.
Amen. Okay. May we maybe we be instruments in restoring the plan on earth. Nice smile there, Cindy.
Hi,
Nice
everybody.
smile there, Ken. Well, let's see. Next week we'll be in at the gathering,
Oh, that's
and
right.
and the week after that, we're going. My wife and I are going to the East Coast.
Where
Uh,
you where are you going on the East Coast?
Coos, Coos, North Bend, Coos Bay, that area. We're gonna
That's
fly
the
over.
that's the West Coast.
Didn't I say? Oh yeah, I'm at the West Coast. It just
You
seemed.
better get that straight before you go.
It'd be a long way around, wouldn't it? If I had to go to the West Coast via the East Coast. Well, anyway, let's stay in contact, and
Well, next Thursday we won't have left here. We're not leaving here till Friday morning.
uh,
So we won't be back in class, have one of these meetings until the 9th of October
something like that.
for
Well,
you guys.
people are flying. People are coming in on Thursday, Ed. So we'll have a meeting full blown Friday, Saturday, and then
Well,
Sunday,
no, wait a minute. You're not supposed to check in until Friday, are you? Aren't you?
the 25th, whatever day
Oh,
that is.
okay. Well, I guess we'll figure that out next week.
I guess you better be figuring it out right away, Ed. You don't want to be left in the dust.
Okay, so the following 2 Thursdays for you guys, no meeting.
No meeting,
Okay.
no meeting, but we can read on and have things to discuss along the way. Like I send you guys stuff in your email, and let's see. Come on, let's see what days we have here. Yeah, the Thursdays. The gathering begins the 25th,
Okay. Yeah.
Thursday. So that's when everybody arrives, and then we have a little meeting Thursday evening.
yeah.
Okay, let's see. Hold on.